early on when I first started, I read Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. And he says that the successful agents never stop, right? Unsuccessful agents, they do prospecting, then they get the lead, so they stop prospecting, and they just keep going. Then when they close the deal, they're all happy, but they're like, I don't have anybody anymore in my pipeline.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to stop posting. There's going to be some guy like me that comes in, these short, sexy, fun videos showing houses, and then they're going to be like, hey, thanks for the educational videos, but this is way more exciting, and this is the home I want to see. Anybody can do what I do. Aren't you worried about competition, even in your own market? Out of 100 people, I literally can show exactly what I do. Maybe 2 of them will actually do it consistently to get the result.
On this episode, we had Tyler Hassman. He shares how in 2 short years, he built a real estate business and how he did that through video walkthrough tours. If you stick through the episode, you'll actually see some tips and tricks he shares to make your own videos a success too.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Light It Up podcast. If you're new to the channel and if you want to know everything about making money in real estate, selling, sales skills, building your business, or investing, then subscribe below, tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know what makes our great guests so successful.
And we get calls and emails every single day from people just like you wanting to learn more, and we absolutely love it. Now, whether you're in the business looking to grow or curious about real estate in general, give us a call, shoot us a text, and we're happy to help.
All right, let's jump into it. So today we have with us Tyler Hassman. Tyler, thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Tyler? Who's Tyler Hassman?
Yes. So in short, I am a 26-year-old real estate content creator. I make real estate videos and real estate agent based out of Alberta, Canada, specifically Calgary. And I now spend a lot of my time traveling around, filming properties, speaking at events, filming luxury properties, filming, some $100,000 properties, low-end properties, and really just having fun touring around. And I also have a good crew of agents that I work with closely here in Calgary that do all the sales. So I'm kind of running around just filming, selling homes, and having a good time.
Awesome, man.
That's pretty exciting.
Right before we started filming today, I was telling Tyler, I'm like, I'm so happy you wore that hat, because obviously that's your staple, man. That's in all your reels and videos that I've seen, the hat is a huge part of it. I wish I could pull off that hat.
Love it.
All right, let's jump into lightning round. John, you want to kick it off?
All right, so here goes. Let's start with this one. Tyler, what was the hardest decision you ever had to make?
Hardest decision was when I first got my license a year and a half ago of should I become a real estate agent or what should I do with my life after a massive business failure?
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, the business failure. We don't all this good shit that people talk about. They come on here, all the success stories. That stuff's we can hear that every day.
Oh yeah. So leading up, I've only been an agent since September of 2021, and before that was a full-time real estate investor. Multifamily properties, vacation rentals all over Canada, United States.
Nice.
And then had some projects in Costa Rica, including a hotel. And then COVID hit. We absolutely lost everything.
Oh, man.
It was devastating. Everything. It was more than what we ever had. And then when we were back in Canada trying to get things going again during COVID, we had some more vacation rentals and different properties come up, also failed. So it was back-to-back failures. So at 24, 25 years old, I'm here all this debt, not knowing what's going on, had crazy good success in my life, and then massive failure, and was like, what do I do with my life? And it was really tough to be what should I do? But as bad as that was, it was also hey, I get to restart. I'm glad this wasn't when I was, way later on in life. I'm glad I'm early on. So I was grateful for that and was like, do I continue doing this or do I try something else or do I become an agent? I wasn't sure. It was really hard to make that decision to wrap up what I was doing previously and just be screw it, I'm gonna become an agent, make money, pay back the debts and get out of this hole. So It was a tough decision, but the best one I made so far.
Awesome.
I love that. All right, I can't wait to jump into it. So
that was a good answer.
Well, if you could only have 5 apps on your phone, what would they be?
TikTok, Instagram, the camera app so I can make my videos, CapCut so I can edit my videos, and YouTube.
And you do all the editing yourself?
All of it myself, yes.
CapCuts.
We're recording this. You don't, CapCut.
I've never heard of this.
I could show you.
I don't know what it is.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
Ooh, best advice I've ever received is, I would just say take risks. I think that's the biggest thing. Bob Proctor, I love Bob Proctor. I'm a big fan of personal development, Bob Proctor. And I think it was Earl Nightingale or him. He basically said a lot of people tiptoe safely through life just to make it to death. And that really hit me, So I think take risks, think big, and just go all out.
Love it.
That's actually a really good quote. All right. If you could never work again, how would you spend your time?
Filming real estate, filming properties.
Nice.
That's what I do. I love it. It's a passion. A lot of people are like, man, you ever get tired? I'm like, no, that's what I do. I film properties. I go on vacation. It's to be like, hey, let's go film some homes. So that's what I do. I would just film properties. I love meeting homeowners, touring around. I just love it.
That's awesome.
You mentioned before, you're like, sometimes I film a few $100,000 home. I mean, most of what I've seen on here is the big shit, 5 million to 10 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys?
Oh, lately it has been.
I forget this dude's name, but have you guys seen the guy on YouTube who's like
Aaron something?
He tours apartments in Manhattan, and he's like, today I'm looking at a $200 apartment in Manhattan, and it's like a broom closet.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, he's the exact opposite of what you're doing. But we should have him on here.
Yeah.
Well, he says,
That's awesome.
Do you rent here? Or how much do you pay in rent? That's how he starts it off with.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, can I see your apartment?
And sometimes it's some smoking hot model, and she's like, I pay 20 grand a month in rent. And then it's some penthouse.
Yeah.
And then other times it's I pay $340 in low income, stabilized, rent controlled housing. Yeah. And it's like a broom closet. Yeah. And well, this is my bathroom, but it's also where I watch TV. Yeah. All right. I'm going to put my notorious question back in here. What's a mistake you continue to make over and over again?
I'm terrible at operations and the behind the scenes stuff. So I'm really good at making videos, generating leads, and getting everything going. I'm terrible at responding, terrible at actually doing in the business work rather than on the business. And I continue to make that mistake all the time, but now I just hire it out or bring on partners. But I still make the mistake.
Yeah,
we all do. All right. So walk us through. So you're 24 years old. You had that whole thing happen with COVID. How did you stumble upon filming property?
Yes. So like I said, I was in the industry when I was 18. I got into real estate investing. And along that whole journey, I was making videos. So videos go back to even when I was in high school, skateboarding, snowboarding videos. I love filming, editing videos. I just found it cool that you can make videos. And I'm from Saskatchewan. So it's a province in Canada. It's super flat, very small, from a small town. So I just thought it was cool that you could make videos, post it online. I was fascinated by that. So I was making those videos. And then once I got into the real estate investing side of things, I started making videos of talking about the market, talking about deals that were happening. And at these networking events that other investors were at, they would love it and they would share it around. And then next thing you know, when I had a deal, people would message me hey, I'll do a video on it. And then an apartment building, and then there'd be partners that'd be hey, I would love to invest, or I know someone that would love to put the money in.
Yeah.
So I started being able to do those videos to really amp that up. And then I'd film the project, me and my business partner, we'd be out there, I'd do a tour of the building, and people were obsessed with it because not many other people in that space were doing videos. So that was me doing videos there. And then when I got into about to get my real estate license, I was after doing so much research and looking around, I was short form videos, I think has the biggest potential. Because at the time, September 2021, TikTok was already massive, right? And if anything, I thought I was going to be late to it. But I knew that was the way things were going. And everyone at that time, September 2021, was okay, YouTube videos are where it's at. YouTube home tours, or the traditional cold calling, door knocking, mailers. Facebook ads and Instagram ads was huge at that time. And I was well, I don't have any money, so I can't do the Facebook ads or Instagram ads. I do not want to cold call door knock. I used to be in car sales. I've done all that, right? I do not want to do that. And then at that time, I was why is nobody really super capitalizing the short form home tours? Because in my market here in Calgary, there was 1-2 people doing it, but not consistently. And then even in the States, I felt it was always just the luxury agents that were doing it, and nobody was just showing an average places. So I got my phone. When I first started, I had a bike. I didn't have a car. It was a $50 bike off Facebook Marketplace. Like I was like starting from scratch. I'm like biking to go and film these properties. And I just had my phone, no gimbal, no nothing. And I went through the property. And then I would do like a long form video as well, like a YouTube. So I did my YouTube video and then would do the short form. And then I promised myself 60 days I'll do this for every single day. And if it doesn't work, I don't get any leads, I don't make any money, I'm going to go get a job. I'm going to quit being an agent. And
filming and posting every day for 60
yes,
days or just filming?
Yes, posting every day. So filming, posting every single day for 60 days. Because I knew I need to give it some time. And I thought 60 days is a good marker. Is it going to work? Is it not? And then 2 weeks into it, all of a sudden, like my TikToks are doing good. Like I'm getting like a couple thousand views, one hit like 10,000. I'm so excited. No leads yet. And then my YouTube videos were like 10 views, 20 views. It was just trash. And I'm like, man, the YouTube videos take so much longer to shoot and edit. Where these TikToks, I'm not even giving any like attention to it. I'm literally going in there. They were so bad. You can go to the bottom of my TikTok page, you'll see them. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I'm like, what if I put more energy into it? So I scrapped doing YouTube, went all in on the short form. And then within the first month, that's when I started getting some leads. And I was like, hey, this is working. And then 40 days into it, right after that first month, I had these out of province buyers, brother and sister, that were just like, hey, like we see your videos. We're coming up this weekend. We'd love to look at some properties with you. And they both ended up buying houses. So that was like a $14,000 payday, $7,500 each home. I had no costs. I was just doing this. At that point, I was able to finally go get a vehicle. And
you're like, as long as you like looking at homes on my bike.
I know.
This is my bike. Say, hey, mechanic shop. Do you mind if I ride with you?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like hop on the back. By month four, I closed like 13 deals in 1 month.
Nice.
So then it just ramped up. The videos got more views. The leads were coming in. I got out of that rut. And I kept making videos though. I didn't stop. So my first year, I made 55 videos-ish. I have it written down somewhere. And then I closed from that 62 deals. So every 5.6 videos essentially equaled a deal. And that was the thing though, is that early on when I first started, I read Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. And he talks about like the cycle of like prospecting, viewing, showings, negotiating, closing, whatever the cycle is. Yeah. And he says that the successful agents never stop each section, right? Unsuccessful agents, they do prospecting, then they get the lead, so they stop prospecting and they just keep going. Then when they close the deal, they're all happy, but they're like, I don't have anybody anymore in my pipeline. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to stop posting. So that's why, I missed maybe 10 days in a whole year, but that was because holidays, like if it's Christmas or Remembrance Day, I don't want to do that. Or if I was really sick or something. But other than that, like I would reschedule appointments, like showings, and be like, I'm sorry, I got to do a video. That's how much I put that into.
And was it all tours?
I went all in. All tours. That's all I do. I do home tours. I don't do any other videos. No other market updates. No, nothing. I just do home tour videos.
And this is probably obvious, but obviously the majority of them are other people's listings.
Oh yeah. So when I first started, all of them were other people's listings. I didn't get my first listing until maybe it was like 5 or 6 months in. But yeah, it's all everyone else's listing. So home builders, a lot of them are show homes, vacant houses, like all of them are other people's listings. And that was what I was able to leverage then. And it's funny because like the old classic thing, even in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, they talk about listings as our leverage. But personally, I hate having listings now. It's so much more work. I'm like, I got to do all this extra paperwork. I got to pay for the photos. I got to market it, get someone to do some open houses at it. Yeah. And I got to do all this. And yeah, there's some leads come in, but I could just go to someone else's listing and they're like, hey, it's a win-win because they get some crazy promo and their job's to sell it. I'm going to market for them, give them a cool little video too. So I'm going to do that and then get a bunch of buyer leads, possibly sell the home and get those buyer leads so they can go do other stuff. Wow. So it got to a point where I was like turning down. Now I have like agents under me that I'm like giving these listings to and where you like got a good system. But at the start, there was some I was actually rejecting listings. I'm like, I have so many buyers and this is just going like this. I'm like, I don't want any listings. So yeah, I was leveraging other people's properties.
Do these agents get upset that you're going into their listing and filming and then marketing it?
No, I get approval. I always get approval. So I text them.
So you'll text the listing agent, hey, can I shoot a video?
Yes.
I'm the guy with the hat.
Absolutely.
I'm going to come into your property, shoot a killer video, and it's to your benefit because I've got more followers than you. I don't mean to say that egotistically, but.
So now though, it's different. Now I get paid. So I don't like if an agent, now agents are reaching out to me and I actually charge them to film. Same thing with builders now. I got contracts with them. So all the videos you see me doing, I'm getting paid for those and I'm getting leads. It's like a win-win. But at the start, I had no followers.
I'm just thinking of like some like high net worth guy like in like Jupiter, Florida. He's got like a $20 million pad. He's like, all right, KIRO, you're my agent, but you got to call that guy Tyler and he's got to do a video here. And you're like, no, dude, I'll do the video. I was like, no, I want Tyler.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The hat
It's
doesn't fit
funny.
the same with you.
I've had that happen a lot where like owners will be like, or agents will be like, hey man, like the owner of my listing, like hit me up. He wants you to come do a video. Or like even like the times the owners will contact me and I'm like, hey, like go contact the agent though, because if I just show up and he's not in the loop or they're going to be pretty mad that you contacted me. But at the start though, you know, it was tough because like I didn't have the followers or the branding or anything. But like a lot of agents, like a lot of them are like, cool, like go right ahead. Some are forward thinking or like it's free marketing, whatever. Yeah. I would though target vacant listings because we all have listings. Even me right now, I got this one listing, beautiful house. There's a family of 5. And they got kids, and I got some people, and we always do like open houses or like, an agent open and you go do some videos. But I had a couple of agents that were like, hey, like 6 p.m. tonight, I want to go do a video. I'm like, hell no. Like, are you on a Wednesday night, at 6 p.m. There's a family here. I'm not going to get them to leave and do something while you do your video. I'm like,
and by the way, I'm going to jump on your master bed and I'm going to be, I'm going to be in your bathtub.
You could almost make it like a cooking thing,
wearing
like
your
family
bathrobe.
time, like family dinner with these people.
Yeah, you get them to be in the video and all that.
That's a bad idea.
So I want to time out real quick right there. So for all you agents out there who are newer in the business, right? This guy Tyler, right, has built a name for himself, built a business by promoting other people's listings, right?
Getting paid for it now, and referring leads to his team.
At no point did you say, oh, well, like, you said you did 13 deals in your 5th month or something? Did I hear that?
Yeah, it was my 4th month, I think. It was January of 2022. So I got licensed September 2021 and 3 or 4 months later.
So those buyers, I should say, didn't really, I mean, you obviously were a real estate investor before. So you had real estate knowledge, you had real estate experience. But on the sales side, you probably didn't have a whole lot of experience under your belt. But none of those buyers cared, right? Because they wanted to work with you because they felt like they knew you. They knew how authentic you were. They felt like, I'm sure you get this all the time. Oh, I felt like I already knew you before I actually met you, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I just wanted to squash that real quick because there's people out there that are like, oh, well, they make up stories in their head about why they can't do it. And,
totally.
You were able to put yourself out there. And I think you did it in a way where other people weren't doing it.
If people can know, like, and trust you and just love your character and fall in love with you, what we do is not rocket science. Right? It's so funny because like so many people are like, oh yeah, but like, do you know, like, what about the different types of plumbing and all these other things? I'm like, that's what you get an inspector for. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, it's good to know some knowledge of it. But at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, let's focus more so on the bigger aspect of it. Like the property, everything's good. That'll check out when we bring the professional inspector in. Even like the one agent, he was getting started, so scared. He's like, I don't know about mortgage rates and all these other things. I'm like, that's what a mortgage broker's for. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So for me, I like to be like, hey, I am this guy that'll make your experience awesome. Right? We'll become friends. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to help you find the best properties for the best price in all these other areas. And if you have questions that I don't know, I'll call up my inspector buddy. I'll call up my mortgage broker. I'll call up whatever person. And that's what I like to do. Because a lot of agents, they try to be, especially new ones, a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Where I'm like, no, I'm just going to be the showman that can find you these properties and then connect you with the right people to answer those more specific ones. Because at the end of the day, too, is like, nowadays, everyone's shopping online. They're on Zillow. They're on Realtor.ca. They're already doing all the searching and looking at what else is for sale and all that. So they just want someone to hold their hand, have fun, drive them around, and point in the right direction. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
There was a video Alex Hormozi posted recently. He was talking about like the cycle that people go through. It's almost like the Gary Keller thing you were talking about. He was like, at first they see an opportunity and they're filled with hope and like, oh, this is going to work out. Then the second phase is that they're like, all right, well, we start seeing some of the problems that are in this industry, but they're still mostly hopeful. And then they go down and they see only the problems. And then they hit the valley of despair. And that's where people stop being consistent with the activities that they're doing. And they look at the next shiny opportunity. And then they go through that same cycle over and over again. Walk us through the moment where you were in the valley of despair, right? And what was that one walkthrough or that one event that you're like, holy shit, there's something here that brought you into where you are today?
Yeah. It was like the first lead I got, probably like 3 weeks into it, maybe. And it was like the worst lead ever. But here I was like not sure about the video because nobody else was doing it. I was talking to other agents and like, there was people making videos, but nobody was doing it consistently.
Yeah.
And, I was talking with the agents like, no, man, you got to do like the Instagram ads or like long form YouTube, and it takes years to get it going, or like door knock, cold call, join a team. I wasn't on a team. I was just me. And I was like, it was getting close to that point. I wanted to go try other things or join a team or do something.
Yeah.
But I just made a promise to myself, 60 days. I'm going to do it. Like 60 days, no matter what. Like, I got this. And then once that first lead came in, I was like, oh my God, I was so excited. I'm like, this is going to work.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, within the next couple of weeks, I had more. And then I think though that my first 2 deals I closed, like that brother and sister that contacted me and were like, we're coming down this weekend. Love your videos. We want to buy some homes.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because when I was showing them that, then they're like, we want to write an offer. And I was like, sweet. Once I go back to my place, I'll send you guys all the paperwork.
Like, how the hell do I do this?
Place, I'm like, where do I find this? Right? Yeah. And it's crazy because I call up the broker and she's just like, well, you got to log into web forms. Like that's our thing here in Alberta. I'm like, what's web form? And she's like, you don't get signed up for that? I'm like, no. And she's like, she's like, Tyler, I'm so proud of you because like we've never had a new agent have this problem where they're like, hey, I got 2 homes, I've got to put offers in, but I don't know where to access the documents.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, that's a good problem to have. You know what I mean?
100%.
The paperwork, it was so easy. She just like walks me through it, gets it done, got it done within like an hour, sent it over to them. And then that's what made me though be like, this is working and I'm not going to stop. And like, there's highs and lows. The thing is, I still go through highs and lows. Sometimes out of nowhere, there's weeks that go by, my counts of views are down, but I just keep going. And the next thing you know, it's up.
Yeah.
So there has been times even shortly after that, I think it was November of that same year, it was slow. And I had a couple deals fall through. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like, should I even post today? I'm like, I need to. I'm not going to stop. And that just really kept it going. Because I'll be honest, a lot of things in my life, I'd always start and then stop. Oh, I wish, what if I would have just kept doing it? Because even when I lived in Costa Rica, we would do like vlogs and like cool lifestyle videos. And I always think back, even made some TikToks and like they did good. And then I just stopped doing them. And I'm like, what if I wouldn't have stopped? You never know. So now I don't have that looking back of like, what if, right? Because I did just keep doing it. And now my life is pretty amazing compared to what it was a couple of years ago. And it's because I didn't stop. I even got that tattooed right on my hand right here. It says, what if, I don't know where the camera is.
I love that. That's pretty awesome.
But I got that right there because it's so easy to see right here, right? So it's like, I don't ever want to have to look back and be like, what if? But then it's one of those things of like, thinking, what if it does work out, right? What if I keep on making these videos? I always tell new agents, what if you actually sat down and stopped going from shiny object to shiny object and said, okay, 60 days, I'm going to do short form videos, right? Or 60 days, I'm going to go door knock every single day, right? Because even though I don't do those traditional ways, they still work, right? But at the end of the day, it's like...
Well, it's because of the consistent behavior,
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing is like anybody can do what I do. So many people are like, because if you go to my Instagram or even send me a message, I literally help people for free for the most part. I got videos on how I edit. Like, I'm at events literally showing people how I exactly do this, right? I don't have no like programs or anything like that right now. Later on maybe, but right now I'm just giving everyone the stuff. And they're like, aren't you worried about competition, even in your own market? And I say no, because out of 100 people, I literally can show exactly what I do. 2 of them will actually do it consistently to get the result. Because if you don't do it consistent, you won't get the results I'm getting. And there's a guy, I was in Houston speaking at an event a month and a half ago. He took it, did exactly what I told him to, and he is crushing it. He's tripled his followers. He was at 1,000 followers, now at like 4,200 on Instagram. A lot of his videos have a few 100,000 views. A majority of them have 10 to 15,000. He's getting leads, and he's only been doing it for like a month. And he is like, Tyler, my life, like this is changing my business. And it's because he actually did it. And there's other people at an event for the first week, they were like doing it. And they're like, oh, sorry, I got busy. Oh, I only did 1 this week. And I'm like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing. It's like Alex Hormozi, actually today, he just posted about it. I don't know if you've seen, it's like, excellence doesn't come from doing something extraordinary or something like that. It comes from doing something so simple all the time. So going to the gym, he talked about. Yeah, if you look at him now, he's like this big buff dude. But
I did see that post. It was the picture of his younger self or whatever.
Yeah, there was that one. It was just today. And then he's like, you've seen the workouts I do. It's the most boring thing, but it's because I've been doing it every day for 20 years. Yeah. Same thing like my videos. There's other agents that do the exact same videos, but it's because they don't do it all the time. Same thing like the hat. So many people are like, oh, like I don't have like a branding thing like you, like the hat.
People have so many fucking excuses.
Yeah. And like the thing is too, I told them about the hat. The reason why the hat is so like iconic for my brand is because go to my Instagram page. You will not see me without this hat. I don't go on a showing. I don't go on a viewing. I don't come on a podcast. I don't go anywhere without the hat when I'm in this kind of setting. So I mean, when I'm going for a run or I go to the gym, I ain't wearing hats. Yeah. But that's the thing, is the consistency. I don't sometimes wear the hat. I always wear the hat. Right. So that's kind of the thing with the consistency aspect of it, is like, you got to go all in on these things to actually see results.
Yeah. Well, so those first 60 days, you know, that commitment you made to yourself, I imagine that was all properties within your market, right? Because you weren't traveling at that point.
Right.
So, you know, the other lesson here or takeaway that I take from it is, for newer agents, right? It's important to preview property. We always tell the agents on our team, it sounds old school, sounds like basic, but you need to know what's going on in your market. You need to know like what a $500,000 home looks like. And that if you go to the $600,000 range, you can expect this and this in addition to that 500,000. You know what I mean? Like it's so important, but people are like, well, what am I going to go see a home for if I don't actually have a buyer? Mm-hmm. Right. But so you're sort of making it fun and turning it into you're making the idea of previewing property fun and that accountability with yourself, right? Yeah. I got to do 60 of these in 60 days. And on top of it all, you're building a brand with other people's listings. It's genius. It's great.
Yeah. And I think the property preview thing is huge, because here as a new agent, like you got to think, like I was going to 4 or 5 properties a day filming, so I had drafts, right, in my folder and stuff. So you got to think, I would go to all these different new communities, all these different properties. And like you're saying, I knew exactly if someone from because a lot of people here in Alberta, there's like a bunch moving from other provinces or like states, and they would come to Calgary. So I'd have these people be like, hey, $500,000 price range, what can I get in a newer suburb? And I'm like, hey, here's the top 3 suburbs. I've been to them all. This is what you can get for 400. This is 500. I put in some of my videos. I know the builders firsthand because I go and talk to the salespeople when I do the videos. I then know agents where I'm like, hey, like, you know, I know you have this property. You have any other ones coming up? I just became this network, like also from being in real estate investing. The number one thing is your net worth, your net worth. Yep. Your net worth is your net worth. So I knew all the people at the home builder people, salespeople, all the agents, like everyone just started to know me, and I knew about all these areas and properties. So that really helped me, you know, catapult into there, because it just made it easy for people. I made lists too. Like the CRM I have is like Chime. Yeah. And I'd make like lists of like the properties I toured, and then I'd have them be like, hey, Northeast Calgary, new townhomes, here's all the ones, and these are the ones I've seen. And people, when they get to like, when they're coming in too, or they're like, hey, we want to view properties this weekend, and I've videoed one of the properties and I send it to them, it's like that emotional thing. Like, this is so cool. Yeah. They're sending it to their friends. Like, oh, this is the property I'm going to be viewing this weekend. This is so cool. It's on this guy's page. So like, it has that like cool effect too. So yeah, it's a wealth of knowledge too, to get to know all these.
I have to feel like some of these old school realtors, like these, I don't want to name names, but like 65 years old and up, I have to, like, none of them like are like, Tyler, what do you want to do? You want to go over there and film a video? It's my listing. Like, why are you going to, you know what I mean? Like, do you find yourself like explaining the process, like if they're not familiar with you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So especially at the start, like that's why I relied so much on builders or like vacant properties from like younger agents, because they more understand, right? But like a lot of times the older ones wouldn't fully understand, and once I would get on they either wouldn't respond or be like, no. But like, once I got on the phone, it was funny because like, they weren't like, oh, you're going to use my listing to then market yourself. Like, they didn't care about that. It was more so like, what's the kicker? Why are you doing this for free? And I was like, because like, I just want to like promote it, and then I get views and I can get leads from it. They're like, well, then sure. Why not? The property's sitting there. And then what I would also do, so this is actually a good piece of advice for agents that are starting out, because now I have leverage. I got the following, all the views, all that stuff. When I first started too, I would tell the agents like, hey, do you know what? I want to come in there, do this video. I want to put it on my social media. I'll make sure I tag you, feature you, all that stuff, so people know it's your listing. I'm not trying to say, hey, it's my listing at all. But on top of that, I'll do the home tour video, but without me in it, and send that to you so you can post it on yours, and then you have a free video. So I'd do one with me in it, like you see on my pages, and then I'd do one without me. And then some of them are like, wow, like Tyler, like I would pay $500 to a videographer to shoot this. And I just did it for free. And then I marketed it for them too. But having said that, like the majority of agents, like now it's a little easier because people are like understanding it more and stuff. But when I first started, a lot of them were like, screw off. No, don't do that. Like yell, they like call and just yell at me like, no, what you're trying to do that. I'm like, okay, simple no would have been just fine, but okay. So you go through that. But I mean, all you got to do is find like, there was even one instance where there was a broker who a brokerage they were at. It was early on, and he was the listing agent at one of them and the broker. And he's like, "Hey, this is actually awesome." And he let his whole office know about it. And next thing you know, the whole office, like everyone with their listings, like, "Oh yeah." So then I found like a few. It's kind of like when you find one client and they refer another. Same thing happened with making videos. Or I'd find one home builder, and then they're like, "Well, we actually have 30 show homes throughout the city." Or I'd find one agent that's like, "Hey, I got like 15 listings. Which ones do you want to get into?"
Yeah.
So, you got to just keep on going, but you find that good group, or even at your team or your brokerage, whatever that may be, you can get lucky with that. But yeah, you're going to get told no. I mean, of course.
Are you ever, I've seen some of your reels and your videos and your tours, but I can't say I've seen a lot of them. Are you always positive? I mean, like if you're going into a home that's got like a super awkward layout, or if they've got crazy choices, or it's super unique, are you giving your own feedback, or are you sort of just being super positive?
It's always positive, but I shine light on that kind of stuff. So like, for instance, if a home like here in, I don't know where, like in Texas, nobody has basements there, but like here, basements every house has a basement. So a lot of these newer homes I'm doing, the basements are unfinished. So they have the basement, but there's no drywall, there's no nothing. And then you got to do that later just to cut costs and all that stuff. So I will be like, hey, and down below is the unfinished basement. You know what I mean? So I talk about it. Or there's even like a condo I did, and it was super close to this really popular street in Calgary, cheap condo. And when I went inside, I wasn't like, oh, look at how beautiful this is. I was like, hey, this is a prime location and a great price, and absolutely could use some money. But I mean, look at the bright side. And then I talk about the bright side, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like honest, but I'm never going to go into a property and be like, okay, this thing is not worth the money. Yeah. This sucks. And there are properties though that when I first started, I would hand select the ones I want to do and then reach out to the agent, where now I get a lot of people reaching out. Hey, can you film this? Can you do this thing? And there are times where I would reject it and be like, hey, sorry, like, I'm busy. I just don't want to do it.
That one's a dog.
Maybe, that's literally it. I'm like, honestly, I don't see the value. Or if it's like way too plain, I'm like, I'm sorry. Like when I was starting out, I would do any property. I don't care. Yeah. But now, I mean, I've done some crazy properties and some really cool cheap properties. But at the end of the day, you always want to be honest, because you don't want to be seen on social as like, you like the amount of times agents do this all the time. And they'll go into like a normal condo, like just a normal plain Jane condo. And they're like, check out this luxury living condo.
Chef's kitchen.
Like, really? Yeah.
Everything's a chef's kitchen. I don't even know what a chef kitchen. Yeah. Everybody has a chef's kitchen.
Exactly. So I think it gets to the point of like, don't overhype things. Just be honest. That's why people like my tours, is like, I don't really like ever like hide anything. I'm not ever trying to like do anything like that. But yeah, I'd never want to like bash a property.
Yeah. So you've done a good amount of walkthroughs. Can you walk us through one of your craziest experiences?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say probably the craziest experience was like filming properties in Los Angeles. Like those properties out there, I've done some crazy ones. I just get to meet like really cool people. Sometimes the agents are like, like basically famous somewhat, bunch of followers, and like they always have the Lambos, the Ferraris. These houses are insane. They're like, oh yeah, like Michael Bay lives down the street, like this celebrity's over here, and I'm just like, whoa. So those are really cool. Got to film a house in Bel Air that hosted like Grammy after parties with a bunch of celebrities. So like those ones are always cool, because coming from like Saskatchewan, where I'm from, it's like the furthest thing from that. Yep. So that is like some of the most exciting stuff. But yeah, I'd probably say that. And I've filmed some really cool places, but I'd say those ones because it has like that really cool effect to it.
Yeah, I'm really impressed because of the mindset shift that you go from like, the investment side of it not working out, and then all of a sudden saying, you know what, I'm going to do this, but you do it in a way that's so bold that puts you in the most vulnerable position, where everybody's just like, oh wait, wasn't he just investing in real estate? Like, why is he like walking around in houses now?
Well, I was going to say you did the exact opposite. Most people want to be an investor, but they become an agent first to sort of learn the business, get some cash flow, and then take that cash flow and become an investor, right? And some successful realtors have turned into investors, but you went the opposite. But I think you were always a creative from the beginning.
Yes.
I mean, your personality and your energy and your enthusiasm. As I was asking that question before about these old school realtors, like I can picture you like charming like an older realtor and being like, oh yeah, this does make sense. Like this TikTok thing. This guy gonna go over there with the TikTok.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, he wants to walk in with the TikTok. Is that okay?
I got the TikTok guy on the phone. He wants to be in our bathtub.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, John, tell the story to Tyler about the lady when you asked her about the photography scheduling.
Oh.
But say it in a quick fashion.
All right, so I thought Tyler was the storyteller.
I know, but you have to tell. He'll laugh. That's fine.
All right. So a few years ago, I'm at the kitchen table with this seller. She had just signed the listing agreement. It's her and her sister, and we're going through all the next steps. She says, all right, well, what's next? And I said, all right, so next week I'm going to send out the photographer. He's going to take the pictures. And she goes, okay, well, what day? I said, all right, how's Tuesday look? I said, okay, perfect. He's going to come out on Tuesday. He's super professional. I've used him for years. I can really, really trust him. He's going to take some really great photos. And she goes, okay. And I can see her getting nervous and worried. And then I'm like, she's, starting to get a little flustered. And finally she says to me, I'm like, is everything okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm good with this photographer, but I just wouldn't have anything to wear. And her sister hits her and she's like, you idiot. He's photographing the house. And she's like, oh, well, all my stuff is packed up already. And we just had a good laugh because like mentally my mind went to a place where it was like she's leaning in front of the fireplace. And like and here is the dishwasher and this is the basement. So
I wish you would have been like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll help you pick out an outfit. And this is like let the camera guy show up to be like,
super confused.
What does she think is gonna be happening?
I wanted to make like a calendar shoot of her. I'll never forget. Yeah, she was wearing a t-shirt that says like Jesus saved my life or something. The whole thing was a wild day, but
oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That is freaking awesome.
Your Bel Air story was a hell of a lot better though, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think the whole thing's just your spin on it is super unique, and the fact that it costs you nothing, right? Like and you're not using any fancy cameras. I mean, there's teams out there, there's real estate professionals out there who are like, well, we hired our videographer last year and, we pay him X, Y, and Z and he follows me around all day. And like, you're doing all this stuff yourself. I mean, that, again, I was giving examples in the beginning of the episode for agents who are new in the business, who have all these excuses of, well, I don't have a hat or I don't have this marketing thing or what's my brand. And then that's another thing right there. It's like, this costs you nothing.
Yeah. Tyler, what would you say is more important, quality or quantity of content that's being created?
Yes, at the start, quantity over quality, and then you got to shift into the quality. So what I mean by that is like, so when I first started, I would analyze it. It's not like, because like here's the issue is that like there's a lot to it when I'm talking about this. Like when I say I posted every day for 60 days, I wasn't like, okay, I'm going to post. Yeah, post whatever. Okay, I posted. No, every day I'm like, I'd watch like, because at the time it was mostly just LA or Miami agents doing like, those crazy big properties. So I'd watch their videos and be like, hey, what can I do to make mine even closer to what theirs looks like? I'm like, oh, my music was too loud or there's too much text or this wasn't as clean. So every day that I posted, I would try and improve it. And then over time, it got better. So the thing is, though, is that for agents starting out, you need to that's the best way you're going to get there. It's like the failing forward whole thing, right? So you'll get better on camera talking the more you do it, right? Even me, if you watch my first videos, I was like, the way I talk on those versus now, you can see the progression to where I am today. And that happened because I did it so much. So then as you get going now, then you can focus more on quality. But the big thing is agents, they like to go and like you said, hire a videographer, do this crazy high production thing, and then they post it and get like 100 views, not even, right? It's like, that's pointless. Why not try to build the audience by just posting consistent content, and then you can maybe go into that stuff. But even now, the reason why I still just use my phone, I can hire a video crew. I got young videographers that are like, hey, I'll do this for free as long as you put like that. It's filmed by me. They're going to get great promo. Yeah. And I still just do it on my phone, all on my own. Because another thing too is the phones are very good quality, but also there's that perception where if things are too high end or too high quality, people think it's an ad. They think they're being sold to, right? That's why people, especially for short form content, a phone, just a quick little like, hey, you're with me, right? It's like, come check this out. People really like that. And that's why I stick to that. But at the start, quantity over quality, but improves that you can do both now, quality and quantity. I'm kind of mixing that both together. Because even now, actually, like if you watch my videos, there's stuff that isn't perfect, things that get messed up. But at the end of the day, it's short form content. People like that. People don't like polished, too polished things aren't good for short form in my mind.
Yeah, no, I would agree. The biggest struggle for us was, right now specifically, is the YouTube part of it takes forever to blow up. But there's we come from a background where it was so sales focused. It was not marketing focused. Now, not to get it misconstrued, real estate is a commodity, right? People in sales will make a lot of money, but people in marketing will dominate because they can cast a wider net, right? So we were born into a sales mindset, and we trained with sales coaches for years. So our focus was always okay, how can we duplicate this? What do we need to do to make the same action happen over and over again? How many numbers do we need to call to get the result we want? So when it came to YouTube and creating the contents that we're doing now, we were like, what's the measurements? Like, what do we need to do to actually replicate it over and over again? And we were realizing you never really know. You just have to test out like a bunch of different shit. It could be a song that you put into the background. It could be the captions that you had on there that caught somebody's eye. It could be the time of day that you posted it, or really just like the tags that you use on YouTube that makes it hit. Any tips and tricks that you could share with someone who's in that phase of creating content, but they're like, it hasn't hit yet?
Yes. R&D, rip off and duplicate. Find someone that's successful at exactly what you're doing. Do the same thing they're doing, the same songs, same cuts, same everything, with your own twist on it though. Mm-hmm. So you aren't literally, because there's people that like, I tell people that, and there's people, yeah, literally. There's people that will get the hat and they're using the same songs, the same wordplay I do. I'm like, then people though are commenting like, oh, you're just trying to be yada yada, and then it backfires obviously, because you need to be in your own lane. But at the same time, like that one guy that was at that event I was at a month and a half ago speaking, he's crushing it. If you watch his videos, you're like, yeah, that's the same style. Very similar, but it's also so different because it's him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and he does these little things that he a different colored text, different style of text. The music's a little different, but the whole concept's the same. So that's the thing, is you want to like find what's working. Because even me, if you watch my videos a month ago or 2 months ago, they're different text, different captions, different style than they are now, because everything's always evolving. So even me, I'll find like there's some agents that all of a sudden they're blowing up, getting all these views, and they're trying something different. I'm going to then try that with my own twist on it and keep on getting better and be more creative and see what's going with the trends, and not get stuck in that thing of like, well, this is what I want to do, so I'm going to do it. Because there's a lot of agents where they're just like, oh yeah, like the home tours are like cool and stuff, but like I think I'm going to stick to doing like my skits because I love doing that. I'm like, but are you getting leads? They're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, a lot of the followers that are probably other realtors, not clients, because you're making fun of clients on it, right? And then next thing you know, I'm like, they'll post a home tour and it'll do great, and they'll get some leads, or they'll do a market update and it'll be great. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, but I'm going to do some more of these other skits. And they're like, why am I not getting followers? I'm like, yeah, you got to focus on like what people want. So even me, every month, right, I'll look at my videos. I used to be weekly when I had so much time as a new agent, but now it's about every month. I'll look at my content and be like, hey, track it all, because I'm obsessed with this. And I'll be like, what videos did the best and why did they do the best? Was it because the property was insane, or was it because of the cuts? And that's when I find out, like, some of my most viewed videos are like these super affordable $100,000, $200,000 condos, right? And then sometimes I get these mansions that are the most viewed. And then I'm like, do you know what? The text was better on this one. This one I talked less. This one I talked more. So then I can find what's working, and then I do more of those. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is that a lot of agents, they just want to do what they want to do and not actually listen to their audience and be like, hey, this video got lots of views, so why not do more of that? And I think it's also having the direction of what's your end goal. So my goal was to generate leads. Yeah. So I thought the majority of people, after researching the crap out of this, buyers in their whole journey spend the most time in any process looking at the properties on Realtor.ca and Zillow, right? Yep. We all do it, right? If you're going to be looking at properties, they're on their phone, they're at work, before bed, they're sending Facebook.
Even people who don't want to buy.
I know, they're looking at
even
that,
people
right?
who just bought. They're like, fuck, I should have bought that one.
Yes, even me. I'm not even just a tour. I'm like, I want to look at some houses. So that was why I'm like, why don't I just do that though, but on social media? Because all these other agents, they kept on, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not nearly as powerful. The reason why, because I tested it, is a lot of agents, they'll go on educational things. and they're always like, here's the top 3 home buying tips. And it's good to mix those in with home tours, yes. But if that's your only content, there's going to be some guy like me that comes in, these short, sexy, fun videos showing houses, and then they're going to be like, hey, thanks for those educational videos, but this is way more exciting, and this is the home I want to see. Yeah. They hit me up, and they're like, wow, this guy will actually meet me at the property and show me it. That's so cool. So if you are an agent that's only doing educational, keep doing it because it is good content. I'm not saying it's bad, but mix in the home tours, because home tours, community tours, educational, and then I'd say like skits or like funny things. Those are kind of the top 4. I might be missing some, but like those are the top 4 I think are the best when it comes down to doing that. And I think a lot of agents, they get some like just don't really understand it, where there was some that a lot of them follow, every agent I feel like follows Broke Agent. That's my favorite page. It's so funny, right? Yeah. But it's funny because I'm a real estate agent, and there's some beginner agents that like make videos like them. Yeah. And they're like, oh, when you're violently hungover at an open house. And I'm like, do you think someone's going to want to list their house with you after seeing that video? Yeah, no. And they're like, oh, but like other agents are doing that. I'm like, yeah, but those agents are doing that for other purposes, to gain more agent following, you know, or they're building their downline, or they're doing something. They're not trying to get clients from those types of videos. So that's why my videos are focused solely on like generating leads. And it's also because I'm passionate about it too. Like I don't do market updates. I think it's a great thing you could do, but that bores me. I don't even like doing it. I just spent 5 years as an investor doing all that. I don't want to do that no more.
I think it's funny that like about the people who just put out the educational stuff.
Well, I literally was telling him this earlier today.
Steve, thanks for letting me know why the lead paint form is important. But we're working with Tyler. Yeah.
I know. I've literally had people like reach out to me like that, and like that's why it's good to mix it in. But at the end of the day, I'm like, people go on social media to be entertained, right? There's the amount of people that want to be entertained, like from home tours or like looking at properties, is like hundreds. Yeah. Like let's say like 100, and then the people that actually want to watch like a 3-minute video talking about the 3 mistakes you don't want to make and stick around for the last one. Those ones are probably like 5 people, right?
I just made that video this morning, so I'm going to delete that.
I love that. But it works. It's good to have, because then people can get it. This is why it's good to mix it, because then they get attracted to like, wow, that home tour was super awesome. They go to your page, and then they're like, they are then wanting to watch your video about the top 3 things or mistakes to make that home buyers make or whatever, because then they're already like sold on you and they like it. So it's good to like make home tour videos to like get far out there and get lots of views and drag people in. And then you can then hit them with the content that's not going to be, say, viral. But another thing too is like, even me, like the home tours I do that are like $10 million home or the Bel Air homes, I'm not looking to sell that or get leads from that. I do that because then that builds my account, and the more people see it and they go to my page, and like, even for instance, I just did a home here in Alberta that has an airport at it, like an airstrip. It's insane. And that hit millions of views within a few days. And I got tons of followers, tons of shares, tons of features, and not a single lead from it. But what I did, like from that wanting to view that property, but I had multiple messages. Hey, Tyler, saw that airport video. That's so crazy. We're actually looking at homes in Calgary. Like, can you help us find like properties? So that's what I do, right? Yeah. So if you're making that educational content, still find some sexy like content that can really get out there to kind of drag people to your profile, and then you can hit them with that other content. Because like even some of the home tours I do, it's like a normal home here in Calgary. It gets less views, but like you look at the shares on it, or the people that are messaging me, hey, I want to view it, hey, I want to put an offer in, like they're more serious about that. Yeah. It's less views, but like people, they like it. But if I only did boring properties, then it would just be like if you're doing educational content, not really growing, right? So it's good to mix the content.
But your ego's has got to have grown a little bit now, right? Like when people call you and they're like, Tyler, will you tour this $300,000 house? I'm sure you're probably like, nah, right?
A little bit.
What's the minimum now? A little bit.
So it all depends, because like it depends on the property. If I can put a unique spin on it, hell yeah. Like there's this place that's like an hour away from where I live. And then the lady's like, hey, like here's like these houses. It's a really big house, and it's like really nice big house. And so we settled on a fee. And then once I got there, I was like, hey, like we just got talking. We had coffee before we went out and filmed it. And then all of a sudden she's like, yeah, I also have like a bunch of other listings, and like this one new build home that's only 400. That's like 400,000. I'm like, what? Like $400,000 for like, she showed me the photo for that. I'm like, that's here. I'm like, that's cheap. I'm like, that'll do better than the big home. She's like, are you serious? So we went out and filmed that, and it got way more views than the mansion because people were like going crazy over the price. Yeah. And then she also had a $100,000 condo that was like also really like for value was insane. And I was like, can I film that one too? Like, I'll just do it for like, I'll include it in the package or whatever. I'm like, I want to film that. But there are times now, yeah, where I'm like, you know, because it's a time thing too, you know what I mean? And like some agents too, they're like, oh yeah, can you come film this? I'm like, hey, like, you know, so like, here's the fee. And they're like, oh, I got to pay for this. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm shooting the property and also going to get you hundreds of thousands of views on your property.
Yeah. And I have to travel and stay there.
I know. And then meanwhile, they'll pay $1,500 to get like a videographer in there with drone shots, and then they post and get 30 views, and they're like, no problem paying for that. So, you know, I would say that's like where I come in, and I'm like, not happening.
Just in closing, I walked us through about like your process. So you get to a new property, you're going there to shoot. Do you walk through it once, like on your own? You're like, okay, I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna walk this way. I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna end here. I'm gonna say this, or is it all really natural?
Yeah. So what I do is before I get to the property, I like to plan it out. So I like to be like, hey, here's the floor plan, because when I walk in, it's all one take going through the whole property. So I like to pre-plan. Okay, I'm gonna walk into the kitchen. Then after the kitchen, I'll walk through the dining. I'll go into the living room. Then I'm gonna go upstairs. So I pre-plan that. And then I pre-plan what I'm going to say at the beginning of the video out front of the property. So if it's like a $500,000 home, and then I'll be like, hey, the first shot out front, I'm going to do a selfie with my camera, with my phone, and be like, hey, this is what 500,000 gets you in Cowgirl or whatever I want to say about the property. And then I'll be like, hey, then I'm going to walk in, like I said, kitchen, boom, boom, boom. I kind of pre-map it out. And then when I get to the property, I'm going to like have to turn on the lights. So as I'm walking, I'm like, hey, this looks good. This looks good. And then I just film. So now, me going to a standard property, I'm in and out like the interior 5-10 minutes, depending how many lights. And, you know, sometimes like you get some that are really interesting floor plans, and I got to like, you know, work my way around it. But 5-10 minutes inside, usually 5-10 minutes outside. So maybe 25-30 minutes at a property, in and out, and then 10-15 minutes to edit it. So maybe 45 minutes, I got a video posted. Shot, posted. Nice. So it's like really quick, really efficient. But for those that are just starting, it is going to take you longer. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. Where, you know, now I've done like 500, 600 videos or something. So now I'm like quick. It's like second nature. But when I first started, it'd probably be about maybe 15-20 minutes to shoot. And like exterior would be 10 minutes. So that's maybe 30 minutes to shoot. And then maybe half hour to edit, like, you know, the text, finding the music, where now it's like a lot more efficient.
Boom, boom, boom. One of the biggest takeaways I think I got from this episode, and it's been fantastic, is there's so many different forms of content you can niche down in, but the one that you are the most passionate about is the one that you should make your focal point, and then everything else you should mix in.
Yeah.
Because like when we were talking about it, what would you do if you weren't getting paid for it? You said doing exactly what you're doing, right? Yeah. So that's being passionate about it. And our coach, one of our head coaches, Mike Ferry, he would always say, the most skilled, but the one that lacks enthusiasm will fail in comparison to the person that's not skilled with all the enthusiasm. So whatever you lack for in skill, make up for with enthusiasm, and you'll win all the time.
And you do that 100%, man.
So, well, the enthusiasm, you could feel it, like in the energy. So that's pretty wicked. And being able to do that through the camera, I'm assuming that comes with practice and repetition, right? And just getting comfortable with it over and over again. So that's amazing. And thank you so much for being, you know, willing to share this all. This has been awesome. And ironically, by the way, from your videos, right? This is pretty cool, like how you are in person, how you are in your videos. In preparation, the goal is to try to create a title before we even shoot the episode to get an idea of the content. The title is How a Walkthrough Changed His Life. Real Estate Marketing Made Fun. And then that's like literally because of what we see on your content, that's exactly what came through with it, and that's how you are. So that's pretty incredible.
Love that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on. What's the best way for someone to reach out if they want to collaborate or connect?
Instagram at Tyler Hassman. Very simple. Make sure it's my actual account. It's like 55,000 followers on there. Scroll down, you'll see videos posted like for the past years. Because in Canada, we don't have the verification thing yet. And I'm not famous here yet to get it. So sooner or later, I'll be verified. So watch out for fake accounts.
I could totally log in over here in Jersey and get
yeah, we can help.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was also thinking. I'm like, next
is that possible?
Like, am I not? I don't know. I've always wondered that. And I'm like, can I just change that? Like, instead of
just hop over real quick.
Like, I'm always there. I know. So I'm just like patiently waiting. I'm sick and tired.
The next time you do a tour in Bel Air, you should check that out.
That's actually a good point.
I know.
Yeah. Do you lose that badge as soon as you travel outside the country?
Who knows?
Imagine.
It's like as soon as it's GPS.
Yeah, like border. It's like it's like you're worthless, peasant. That's funny. This has been awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Thank you. We really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you
your
guys.
time. We'd love to have you back. Actually, we do another series, Light It Up webinars, where
That's actually a great idea.
it's more interactive. Like this is
Yes.
pretty interactive, but we can bring our community in front of you, and then people can actually ask questions.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we'll reach out to set that up.